CH22 Club, 1. Monday. The fourth week of the second semester began. Ugh. I really had a good rest over the weekend. Although I initially refused, Amy diligently fed me 3 meals a day. It must be how a baby bird feels when it's taken care of by its mother bird. When I woke up in the morning and my youthful tent had risen, I had to maintain my dignity as I made my way to the bathroom, feeling a bit embarrassed. Anyway, thanks to Amy's enthusiastic service, my body had somewhat recovered, but it was still difficult to move around vigorously. I needed to get better quickly. It would be best to stay in bed as much as possible. I lingered in bed longer than usual before getting up. Then, have a safe day, young master. Please don't push yourself too hard. I understand. As I left the dormitory with Amy's farewell, walking felt a bit uncomfortable, but it wasn't too challenging. I headed straight to the bus stop. The gazes of about 10 students who were waiting for the campus shuttle fixed on me. Their eyes held a subtle expression, significantly different from when they treated me as if I didn't exist or looked at me with disdain. It seemed that the rumors of the practical skill evaluation had already spread. It should greatly help my reputation. There's nothing wrong with that. Having a good reputation would make it easier to find aides. From the second year, many practical classes require an aide. Most students start looking for a suitable aide toward the end of their first year. An exceptional aide is as valuable as an outstanding hero. During I kept my composure and boarded the campus shuttle. I was later than usual. It must have been the busiest time for students to go to school, as there were no seats available. I could have sat down in an empty seat if I had hurried. It felt odd standing for the first time in a while. Irene, who always sat beside me with her head bowed, was not there either. After getting off the shuttle, I walked with wide strides to the building where my first period lecture was held. The current time was 9:25 a.m. Usually, I would arrive around 9 a.m. I was much later than usual. During I opened the classroom door. At the same time, countless gazes pierced me. Their eyes were filled with curiosity, as if they were seeing something strange. Although the number of unpleasant glances had significantly decreased, which was nice. Having received those stares since the bus stop, it was now becoming somewhat burdensome. I naturally sat down in the seat next to Noctur. Noctur, who was looking at his textbook, spoke up. "You're a bit late today, Theo. I was wondering what happened since you suddenly disappeared. How was your weekend?" "Yeah, Noctur, did you have a good weekend?" I felt pretty exhausted after the match, so I went straight back to my room. "That's a shame. There were a lot of brothers I wanted to introduce you to that day. Theo, thanks to you, many of them gained strength." Noctur grinned, seemingly in a good mood. "Well, it's Noctur who believed in my methods and carried them out." The roar of the orc audience after his victory over Andrew is still vivid in my mind. "I'm glad I could help. You should be proud. It was a truly remarkable feat. I've been appointed as the next president of the freshmen's gathering because of it. Theo, everyone wants to meet you. Make sure to drop by when you have time." "All right." As Noctur and I chatted, "Good morning, everyone." Professor Mari entered the room. Unlike her reporter-like appearance during the practical evaluation, she looked a bit disheveled as usual. "Did you all have a good weekend?" "Yes," the students responded cheerfully. Mari smiled brightly and said, "I'm glad to hear that. Before we start the class, I have an announcement. As you all know, the practical evaluations officially begin next week." "Ah. Yes." The students' response was a bit deflated. While some seemed excited, most wore grim expressions. It makes sense since the practical evaluations mark the start of the official Hero Department curriculum. Tutorial over, the real game begins. Mari spoke with an understanding expression. "Alright, everyone, get ready, and we'll start the class. Please open your books." Swish. Mari opened her thick textbook and began the lecture. As always, I already knew the content of the lecture. Instead of listening, I lost myself in thought. As Mari mentioned, the practical evaluations would start in earnest next week, the 5th week. Until now, it had all been theory-based, but from the 5th week on, the practical component increases significantly. There are various types of practical evaluations. These include monster hunting, artifact exploration, individual duels, dungeon exploration, and more. It's quite diverse. During the 3rd week on Friday, a practical evaluation took place, which was meant to help individuals realize their weaknesses and improve upon them. At that time, Mari, who was lecturing, slammed her desk with a bang. Obviously, each hero must continuously develop their individual skills. "Ah, is it because it's Monday? It seems you all can't concentrate well today. Let's all stretch for a moment. Yes, reach out, stretch, keep going for about 30 seconds. In the meantime, I'll come up with a question. Who wants to give it a try?" Most students averted their gaze. "Again, huh?" I cleared my throat, preparing to answer, but, "Neek, I have a question for you." She chose Neek instead of me. Somehow, that felt empty. I had thought she would pick me. While having such thoughts, I glanced at Mari, only to see her looking at me with a pleased expression. Why is she suddenly acting like that? Feeling somewhat embarrassed, I turned my gaze away from Mari. This week is relatively relaxed. I'll have to visit Mari's office at least once. Anyway, back to the topic at hand. The practical exam score is much higher than the theory exams. I've mastered all practical exams except for the one-on-one battles that prioritize combat power. My combat power has increased quite a bit too. It's pretty good for me right now. And the second most important hidden piece. Most first-year practical exams are conducted within the Hero department, but there are occasional cases where we go outside. I think I can obtain it during those times. Mari's lecture, the first period of Introduction to Hero Studies, ended. Wrap up. Mari closed the textbook and said, "That's it for today's lecture. Oh, and those who haven't submitted their club application forms, please do so if you don't submit them by the end of this week. That's it, it's over." Mari left the classroom. Ah. Right, there were clubs. Elinia Academy, where most students are in their mid to late teens, strongly recommends club activities. The purpose is to manage stress in the midst of endless competition. I should do it. It wasn't a priority, so I hadn't even thought about it, but now I have to. My reputation among my peers is significantly reflected in my academy grades. With my image significantly improved, it's time to push further. Subquest: join at least 2 clubs and actively participate. Reward: 2 store gold coins. There's also a quest. It doesn't matter if I don't clear the subquest, but there's no reason not to do it since it gives 2 store gold coins. But which clubs should I join? There are all sorts of clubs in the original work: tactics and strategy, martial arts, travel, reading, hunting, soccer. There's even a club for exploring gourmet restaurants. I asked Noctur, who was reviewing what we learned today, "Noctur, do you have any clubs you're active in?" "Of course, I'm in the hunting club. It's a great place where orcs, lizardmen, and beastmen form the core. Are you interested? By the way, I'm the freshman club president. We don't have any human members, but everyone would welcome you, Theo. Do you meet once a week?" "Yeah, every weekend we rent a 45-seat carriage to go outside the academy. It's about releasing the instincts suppressed from living civil in the academy. It's a virtue that great warriors should possess. Theo, you have the qualities of a great warrior, so it should suit you well. It doesn't seem like the hunting club would be a good fit. My main purpose for joining a club is reputation management. My reputation among the orcs is already pretty decent. A club that's relatively low-key and mostly human members seems to be a good choice. Which one should I choose? It's a difficult decision. Is there any club with someone who has wide connections and can spread the word that Theo is a good guy?" That's when I saw Aisha. Over the weekend, I went to the restaurant behind the night department. The chef there is really talented. Surrounded by other students, Aisha was in the center of the conversation. Yeah, that's her. As the idol of the academy, Aisha naturally attracts a lot of attention. Moreover, she's good at dealing with people. Her reputation is better than anyone else's at the academy. I don't know which club Aisha joined in this route. Still, she would be involved in at least 2 clubs. While thinking about this, Aisha and I made eye contact. Aisha's eyes widened, looking surprised. Her red pupils make her look like a frightened rabbit. I silently nodded my head. Approaching her first could cause her trouble. I'm still disliked by many people. If Aisha is as smart as I think, she'll notice that I have something to say and approach me first. Lunchtime arrived. Aisha got up from her seat and approached me. In the meantime, I spoke to Noctur with a gesture. "You go ahead for lunch today, Noctur." "Alright, it's been a while since I ate with my brothers. Let's go, my orc brothers." As Noctur and his fellow orc freshmen left, Aisha came closer. For some reason, she seemed a bit scared. "What is it, Theo? Do you have any clubs you're involved in?" Chapter ends.